Almost in the end. Open house. We have a lot of questions. So what's pending? Open house, and then lucky draw, and then retrospective, and then some events, drinks. Which one we do first? Lucky draw first?
Yeah, last one is better. The drinks.
What do we do first? One answer.
Lucky draw.
Lucky draw? Alright, so I'm going to do the lucky draw. Alright, thank you.
I don't believe you.
Well, there's only few right answers that we have. So, Albert, you want to give away the prizes? Okay guys, my first draw is going to be we have Balaji here. Balaji. Hey, who got lucky? Prashant? Where's Prashant?
Maybe.
Prashant? We have Prashant P. Ah, okay. Alright. And Sandeep S. Struggling. Do we have a Manjunath? Manjunath Munraju. Oh, okay. Ram Lakshman. Hi. We have Suresh Konduru. Yep. Suresh Konduru, hi. He's come from Hyderabad for Scrum language. Oh, Mr. Purohit, Makaran Purohit, come over. Alright, we got 3 more. Guys, could we clap? Syed Shabib Ali. Somebody wants to do the lucky draw? Brijesh. Okay. Okay guys, the last one. Suresh Ramakrishna. Well, adding to his credit, he was the one with most number of sticky notes as well.
Wow.
Alright guys, so can we have the open house now? We'll answer all those questions and then we'll move on to our retrospective. Sure? Okay, here's the way we're going to do it. I'm going to read out the questions that we have. If anybody has an answer, please. And then otherwise, if people want to correct them, then it's fine. So we'll spend max of 2 minutes for every question. Is that okay? Alright, so we can start early. This is a retrospective point. WSJF stands for what? WSJF. Thakur, I think you asked that question, right? So what is WSJF? What is it again?
One voice. Weightage, shortest job first.
Where did you guys hear about this term?
Why can't you give us a little bit of what it is?
Yeah, please.
Basically, it says that whenever you are doing the prioritization, it's not just you see the business value of it, you also calculate the risk of it. So based on the risk factor as well as the value, business value factor of it, you prioritize your backlog items. Don't just,
Risk of what? Risk of the technology or risk from the business?
it can be technical risk, it can be personal risk. So you have to keep those risks into mind and mitigate those risks, and you keep those factors in mind while you are doing prioritization. So just don't keep the business value of that in mind.
But don't you think risk is...
No, but risk is directly proportional to your business value, right?
That's exactly what I was about to say.
No, not necessarily.
The thing which is more
Not
risky
necessarily.
also gives you more value.
It may not.
No, it may not be the case always.
It may
For
not be
example,
the
a
case
framework.
always.
Framework change does not have any business value. But that's a risk for that particular product or solution. Full.
So I'll give you an example.
So the risk that we're talking about is not the business risk. For example, if I do not deliver this, the business is going to be strongly affected.
That's a business value.
That's a business risk also.
I'll give you an example.
That would be a business
See,
value.
any risk should be tied to your business value at the end of the day.
Correct. That's what the goal is.
So I'll tell you an example.
I mean, what happens to inside our Scrum or inside our frame, it doesn't matter to the client anyway.
Yes. Yes.
Let's
Thanks
take
for the-
a simple example of login screen and a password. So when you say the password should be, there is some criteria set for the password, right? The password should be
Alphanumeric,
strong
yes.
enough. So it should be strong enough. Now this does not hold a business value out of it, but if you see
It
the
does.
risk out of it,
Sorry, for a bank it's a must.
Yeah.
then it's a must.
Yeah, it's
But
mandatory for
I'm talking about the strong password criteria.
Correct, that's a must for. There's a certain criteria you
For all
have to
its
follow.
risk, right?
Well, in most of the cases, you have two passwords
It's a
actually.
requirement, it's not a risk.
But I'm talking about the risk factor. If the password itself is not strong enough, then that's what I'm coming to. If it's a financial application and if it is a proportionate impact on the business, then it has to be taken into consideration. So
That
if
kind
you
of a value, that without this my solution cannot even go live.
Yes,
Without giving this small functionality, our solution itself is not going to go live.
So what is saying, that's a high priority or low priority? You should take it.
so just don't consider the business value of it. That's what I'm saying. Consider the risks involved along with the business value.
According to that is high value or it should come?
So based on the risk and business value, if it is if you think it's on a higher value,
So it goes back to his point, right? He was saying the value, the risk is anyway directly proportional to the value. The thing which is high risk is more giving more value.
So that's
Might not be always.
It's not always the case.
Why not?
I mean, we
Tell me
take,
one case
we
is
as
where you
product,
think, now,
he
let's
just-
look
he
at
just
one
gave-
case where the business risk is low and the value is more. Let's look at any cases.
he just gave an example of,
No, but
That's again internal to you. You manage your framework, people you're left, that is, you cannot build that to client and my people left, I cannot deliver,
no,
right?
again, organization
It is-
determines the
it is-
framework,
it is a
in the
risk.
sense what tools to
No,
use.
it's an
what
architectural
Yeah.
backlog risk.
Okay, I'll give you an example. Maybe this applies. Every internet banking solution has a video about how to use internet banking, right? So that's a publicly accessible content, which may or may not be as risky as the actual internet login application, right? What actually provides more value is the internet login, the net banking, but then this video actually aids you into using the internet login, right? So according to me, the actual value out of the product comes from the net banking application, but the more value I get is from the internet, because it enables people to use more of my internet banking. So indirectly they're proportional, but if you think about the risk, if in terms of security, if the internet banking is compromised, then you have more risk. But let's say you have your video, which is publicly available to anybody. If that is like misused, then it may not be directly proportional to your business value, right?
I don't think so. It's going to expose your internal how you are going to process all this.
Sure.
It's generally just
User
base of
It's a
access.
That's what I'm saying.
That's
It's
the
just that public content. It's just that public content. Maybe it's of low risk, but it provides more value because it gets more people to use internet banking.
Yeah, it actually expands your customer base, that way,
If it's
actually
going to
even,
impact on security, it cannot be.
I think we should move on.
Alright. So what is the...
Specifically, we were just trying to understand if you're talking about risk over here, let's consider one thing which is of a high risk but of a low value. There is hardly any.
if it's of a high risk and a low value, would you even do it?
Okay, we will
That's-
take it
that's
offline.
exactly
We'll take it offline.
Okay.
Alright, we'll take it offline. We'll take it offline. I can answer that. What about soak testing? I've never heard of that.
So,
So, no, S-O-A-K. I know smoke testing, there's like S-O-A-K. Soak testing.
So,
No, that's simple
SOAK
object
is there.
protocol.
It's just-
SOAK, soak as in aerial matic soak.
It is more or less like Hadoop testing. It's called SOAP testing. Like going to test at Hadoop basis. Like randomly get an
No, but
application.
is it something like giving up enough time for more than enough time for testing?
Yeah, can I answer it?
Sure, yes.
So testing has come from the performance testing point of view, wherein you do a testing for a longer duration. Like maybe the application is once you do a performance testing for a load of 100 people. Now there are 200 people logging into the application and you
I
have to
interrupt.
prolong it.
Actually, that is not a SOAP testing.
That is
So
SOAP
performance testing is different from the SOAP testing. SOAP testing is Hadoop testing. If you are an exploratory testing, but if you go on Wiki, performance testing.
As per
Lesson
Wiki,
from Wiki.
as per Wiki, SOAP testing involves testing a system with a significant load extended over a
For a longer
significant
duration.
period of time to discover how the system behaves under sustained use.
Question was that.
Okay.
So here's my question. I didn't know what it was. I saw it in the presentation. So we'll move on to the next one. Cross-functional team, RASI. Somebody wrote that. I don't understand what it is.
Basic matter.
Okay.
So,
Can you rephrase your question?
okay, so what I was actually asking is that when you're talking about the first scenario, right? You ask your developers to look into testing or to test the development kind of thing. So the only question was if a functionality is missed or if a functionality has been tasted and got failed, and whose responsibility for it and whose accountability for it?
It's
Now,
both.
forget about team. I cannot penalize 10 people, right? I need to find out one guy who has done a mistake.
No, what's the use of penalizing a person?
It's like this. At the end of the day, I cannot give exit rating to all the 7 people.
Okay, that's an appraisal side of it.
Yeah.
See, what we normally do.
I mean, it's all related to performance.
True, that's a correct one. See, what we did in the past, my previous companies, we forgot about what is the mistake. What did we learn out of it? Whether that mistake is repeated again. And when I come for an appraisal, we see the consistency of their performance.
That's correct. But if you know that there's a guy is continuously making this kind of mistakes, he is a risky candidate for me, right?
Check him out. True.
I need to put him into training or do some kind of, because that's from people's perspective.
True. That would be exposed by the
I mean, if
team.
you look at the ideal condition, I will say, okay, I learned it, let's move on to this. That's a pretty ideal
See,
condition. But
yeah.
being a house
When-
manager, I need to do something else.
When we speak about penalizing, the people will not open up. That
It's
is
not
their
about
mistake.
penalizing people, but also I need to make sure that this guy comes
True.
up to the level, but I need to find out who is this guy.
That is different from penalizing.
I mean,
Okay, so you need to find out who the guy that doesn't
who is
perform.
responsible for it, and
Okay.
who is accountable for
I'll put it this way: if you have a Scrum team, and if you have a product owner, Scrum Master, and a team, then with the collaboration and the ceremonies that we have, it would be so evident in the retrospective and in your sprint reviews, so you would know right there. So if you have a self-organizing, mature team, then team would fix it themselves. You wouldn't really have to identify.
That's the problem. Most teams today are not like that.
Correct.
Or it should be
Not
level
even
is not there.
close. So the thing is probably, and the way I would do it is let it continue over a period of time. It shows in the team delivery. So go back to the team and tell them you're not delivering as per your expectations. But the team will then say, okay, we are not able to deliver because person X is making problem, or person X is creating problem, and we work with person X.
Correct. How to find out that person X and
Let
You
the
don't
team,
have-
let the
you
team, let the team.
As a manager, you cannot find it out.
Either way the regular stand-up happens,
Yes.
people, the way that they pick up the stories. You know that the person who is not performing up to the par, his belief acceptance would be little less than the people who are performing. That is number one, that you can identify that who is performing, who is not performing. The second identification is
Yeah, I
that
mean, I'm sorry to interrupt, but let's look into this. If I'm picking up 10 stories and I screw up 5, 6 of them, then
so you know from the Scrum team you can easily identify right, that who is that person who is taking the story. This is a very classic case and it happens across. So it's, I mean every probably team would have experienced that somebody is not up to the level where they are performing what is expected. So
We can take
I'm going to
this
take it offline, but we can answer all the
as a
questions.
small
There'll be some
group,
conflict.
small group with whosoever interested.
Okay.
Maybe after that.
Another one is architecture epics. This is for a scaled agility framework. Is it suggested to do upfront architecture for the enterprise overall? Is it suggested to do upfront architecture for the enterprise overall? This is not Scrum, this is about SAFe. This is a question for SAFe.
Yeah, so this is actually my work. So what we do, from the corporate risk technology side for the bank, we make sure that we define a roadmap for 3 years. Okay? Make a roadmap for 3 years, then we come down to a year what exactly we're going to do this year and accordingly the budget and rest of the comes. That's part of either the program or the portfolio. Right? But we define it not for a specific task, but we define it for the whole of organization. How is this globally a form or it is going to be applied to right? So yes, so question answer is yes, we define it at enterprise level and we define it as a business architecture point of view. We do not define anything from technology, from business, vision and objective point of view, then it comes down, drill down to technology.
What we did in our organization is like, as he said, we have a bigger vision of architecture, how it need to perform, what are the pieces, but what exactly is needed in this architecture, what exactly is needed for this particular story, that will be identified and developed in the sprint level, and iteratively the pieces will be added based on the stories. So we made an architecture backlog also, that is prioritized, spoken to the product owner and prioritized. A little bit of leverage will be taken with features and also the architecture.
So I just have one input. So when we are talking about roadmap and the 3 years or 2 year strategy, we don't talk about the one specific project actually.
Yes.
So basically it will be kind of like one goal where we want to be at this particular quarter or day. So basically it's only the goal that will be discussed and not on the project level or at the framework level.
Yes. Yes.
So it's actually at a business case level, if I can
Correct.
be very objective,
Yeah.
right? There's a business case level.
I take that question answered.
Super.
We have a next one. Agile and Scrum for cloud computing. So what is it about? Agile and Scrum. Okay, you would like to know more about it. Agile and Scrum for cloud computing. You mean applications deployed in the cloud, distributed performance and all that? How could it be different? Agile.
One question is, are you looking at deploying and maintaining the application from the cloud?
Complete
or-
process end to end from one initial.
So is this with respect to ITEL process perspective you're coming, or is it from the development?
Development and also the maintenance. Like
No, there are a lot of
Definitely we can do. For ITEL, I think it's all on the support basis. I don't think.
No, that would be Kanban.
Kanban, yeah.
Kanban can fit in that.
no, but you need a lot of technology infrastructure also to put stuff into the cloud, like DevOps, which is not seen the process part of it.
Kanban,
Yeah, Kanban is still process based, but I'm saying you need real hardcore DevOps,
Cycle
continuous
servers,
CI/CD servers,
Yes.
infrastructure and all that in place. So you need the technology support for putting something into the cloud, and not only the process side of it.
But what were you exactly looking at? Agile and Scrum for cloud computing. According to my
process-
perspective, it's an application that's deployed in multiple places, and the processing is going to be split into multiple servers, and the data is going to be layered across multiple servers. But other than that, you could follow the same Agile, SAFe, or any Agile methodology.
Like the service you're
That's what I
providing, we have 3 services like infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, some software application as a service. From
So,
service
so those are services that you deliver to your clients, right? But for you, that is developing the infrastructure as a service, your infrastructure is the product that somebody's going to buy as a service. So still, if you're running Agile methodology and infrastructure as a service, you could define constant goals. Maybe for infrastructure, I think Kanban would fit because of the work in progress limit. But I think if you have a software as a service, then you can clearly go with the Scrum.
Even you can use Scrumban, which is a
Yeah.
mix of Scrum and also Kanban.
Yeah, but as said, if you are spanning across servers that you can't manage yourself, you need to have a DevOps team or an IT team that's equipped with knowledge to scale to that level of deployment. Okay, Scrum and Agility. For testing the product deployed in cloud. For testing the product deployed in cloud.
It's the same, right?
It's just that infrastructure is different, otherwise it's the process and everything is same. So
Alright, do you want to refine your question? Or it's that same? Okay. So, if you have any more, then we will discuss. Anybody else has anything?
Okay, during our talks, there was one topic on saying no to our manager, right? What we followed in our company is we don't say no. We say yes, but then we say if I do this, these are the areas I am lagging, so I will be slow on this. These places. However, I spoke to another person who is confident enough to take that. He can do that better. So now you can give me what is the plan. If still the manager goes back saying that no, you should do it. Now the risk has been already discussed on the delay and everything. So you are mitigating the risk already. This way I am not saying no, but at the same time I am saying no, I am not efficient enough to do this particular task. Okay. The only thing to say no is we need to do the homework before. We cannot say point blank no without any data backing us. Okay. Anything else? Any other questions we have?
Yes, I have one. Maybe very basic question, but I want everybody's opinion on this. In the start of the cycle, when we had yet not started sprint, looking at the requirements for the product backlog, how do we arrive at the estimate of the big estimate, the size of the initial size?
Okay.
What are the methodology or your experience in arriving at the initial size of the plan?
Normally
size,
Product
or
sizing.
maybe in Scrum we say story points. So initial size of, we have to plan it across, right? We have to plan.
Okay. So this is something like a high ballpark estimate.
Yeah,
We use the ballpark estimate.
Sorry.
Yeah, you
One
can.
answer for that is, see, in the Scrum, the release of the product is the onus of the product owner, not the team. The team's responsibility is only to develop, plan and make sure it achieves the definition of plan. So and it's up to the product owner when to release that to production or to any other environment. Does that answer your question?
See, okay, to give an estimate, there are two estimates. One is, I'm not sure, I don't have a picture. It's a cone of uncertainty. When you are very far from development, you will not have many items, many parameters, that is simple. So always your estimate is bound to change to a greater extent. So what we do is in my company, what we do is I have ballpark estimate. It is nothing but no numbers, nothing. S, L, M, XL, XXL. That's it.
T-shirt size.
T-shirt sizing. This is we follow. Some people will follow
Story points. Story points.
Story point itself. Okay, some will follow a range. Like it could be 10 to 20 hours or whatever number it is. Okay. It is up to what the team and the company needs. How they do it. Why it's just a bucketing. We openly tell to the product owner saying that this is just a bucket. This is not the actual estimate. Then we do the product backlog tool, where the epics will be splitted into smaller user stories. That time we have little more information. Based on that, based on our experience, to do how much time it would take to do a login screen, or how much time it would take to save this data.
Yeah.
Based on that experience, we give a story point value.
When we have a small piece of work,
Yes.
the estimate will be quite.
Yeah, I'll give you that
accurate.
estimation, right?
But when you have, very abstract, very big initial scope, and the initial raw requirements, and you have to draw the release plan. Maybe you have to say that how we are going to deliver overall, the big picture. 6 months, then how many releases, and then sprints. If you have to plan that way, looking at the initial abstract requirement, then the starting point is what my question there.
So if you were to answer the question,
you might do like we look at fast. So we know the velocity of each team, and we know the sizing of the user stories. So this much user story, and this is the velocity of the team. So we get an idea. Okay. So this is
The sizing of user story.
no.
Velocity
Okay.
is
So
fine.
yeah. Okay. So okay. This team completed. So the sizing of the story will be standardized, right? So there will be so when teams are doing that, I am sizing this user story.
and it is very relative, right? So a big user story compared to a small user story, that's very relative. So we have a sizing for the user story. Now, and we know it from the past experience that it has taken this much time for this user story to complete it. So we relate that and just come with an estimate. No?
But initially you...
No, one second actually. Before you ask any more questions, the whole idea of Scrum is, if you are a Scrum purist, the say is there is a new movement called no estimates. The whole idea of Scrum is you move away from estimates to no estimates. So basically you just have a ballpark figure, as you said, keep working on it and then arrive at your actual estimate. So you don't put a fixed number on it as such. So you start thinking in terms of no estimates. So that if you do a hashtag search on Twitter, no estimates, you'll get a lot of information how to do it.
A follow-up on this, help me clear. So does it mean that when we execute a project, when we start a project, maybe I'm looking from a management perspective, does it mean that we will start without any targets to achieve?
Not really. That's not the intention of Scrum also, right? Intention of Scrum is you do stuff efficiently.
How do you arrive at that, okay, we have 3 months or we have 6 months, release 1, release 2, release 3.
You keep working on a velocity and then you fix small
It's a new project.
If you gather your velocity and you take that to your story, like you know this a story point of this took you this much time to complete. So when you actually have your new epics and when you have your story points for that, you can relate, right? It took me this much time in the past, so probably it may took this much time, for me to complete a story of this size now. You kind of getting it, right? So I had a project running earlier, so this is not your first project, right? So from the past, you had a story point of size 8, maybe, like just take a number 8. So and it took this much time to complete. So that's my past data. So so now you have a similar story of size 8. You may think that probably this is going to take this much time. Taking from your history.
Another one model is, since you are talking about
just 1 second. Could we take it offline, because Albert has to do rewarding Scrum Manual and then we have retrospective.
let me finish.
You have time, but you have time for a rewarding Scrum Manual.
Yeah, just one.
Sure,
one.
alright.
See, since we are talking about abstract, which is not at all defined, go for a sprint 0 or sprint -1. Okay, this is not a buildable sprint, but this will give you understanding on what exactly you are going to do. Maybe a prototype, maybe an architect small diagram. That will help you to come to a little bit of confidence about this project. Then work on the estimate. That is another. Okay. By that we will take this offline separately due to the time. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Alright guys, could we close the open house? Do you have anything else? One more question, maybe. No. Alright, okay. So Albert is going to give a presentation about how you can get 8 category SEU points. He's going to do that in 2 minutes, but we will also mail you the procedures just for you, just for the attendees that are here today. So